It's hot here and only going to get hotter. We've got the biggest names in aviation YouTube under one roof on this episode of In the Hangar. All right. Hello, welcome to In the Hangar, a special one. I'm Dan Milliken.
I'm Christy Schaefer.
And I'm Baylee Ward.
And we are so excited, and even the planes are excited. The aviation community is very tight, very small, and that's one of the things that we really like. And I know that from taking off, we really enjoy the interaction with you guys. So when you leave comments and stuff, it's us responding.
Nice comments.
Christy only likes the nice ones, but which is, by the way, the very first question. We'll just segue to that. Here's a question, and we'll go to. Let's throw it to Matt Guthmiller. You're OG here. You're one of the early YouTubers. How do negative or hate comments affect you?
That's an interesting question. I try to just ignore a lot of it. I find it a little bit entertaining that there's a handful of people that have so much time on their hands. But, that's about all you can do. You can't reason with those people. You can't do anything. It's just, it is how a part of the world is, and that's just it. Mike, you've always got a great take on hate and dealing with that kind of stuff because you get a ton of comments, good and whatever. How do you deal with that?
You know what? I feel like most of the comments are just genuine questions, and I try and look at even some that if they come across a little bit negative, I try and step into their shoes and say, what is it that they're really worried about or that's in their head? Because I think it's natural for all of us as YouTubers to read a comment and want to think, oh, that's really bad, or they're over there angry typing. And honestly, I don't think so. I think sometimes they just blurt out something, and so I try and look at it with a positive view and say, if I have a chance, I want to answer it as polite and direct and as kind as I can, and hopefully that will come back later with a nicely worded comment, but I don't mind it.
And it's really interesting. I've engaged in some interesting conversations with people where they started off very negatively. Oh, I can't, like the one we did with my captain upgrade when we went into the sim.
Right.
I had some negative comments. Oh, she didn't land on the center line and this and that, and I wouldn't want her to be my captain. I actually engaged with those individuals and let them know, you know what, you're absolutely right. And that was a debrief item that I had. But it was a new seat for me. It was my first time doing it, and we had some back and forth dialogue, and I actually changed that person's perspective.
Yeah.
So if you're just coming back at them with kindness, oftentimes it really helps.
Through the history of the channel, I've become a better pilot because of the comments that are made. So I will say that. Okay. All right, Christy.
All right. So this question is for Josh Flowers and everyone else. How do you balance personal life and filming to put out content?
We actually just kind of had a little bit of a come to Jesus about this topic, right?
Better now than later, by the way, Josh. Call that a marital gift.
When I edit the content and we're putting out Instagram stuff that kind of aligns with whatever trip we're putting on YouTube, whatever it is, we're kind of living in the past, and it starts to get a little bit old because I'm editing stuff and she's putting out social media stuff and we're tag teaming post-production and whatnot for stuff that was 8 months ago. So we're excited about what's going on in our projects and our life now, but we're trying to showcase stuff and trips and adventures that happened 6 or 8 months ago.
Do it justice.
Exactly, and do it justice. So I don't know, my short answer is it's a delicate balance. But beyond that, it's really just trying to tell the story as effectively as we can, as best as we remember it. There are benefits to editing it post-production like that because we have kind of a different retrospect perspective with it. But I don't know, it's a delicate balance. Sometimes it kind of steps in the way a little bit, but we make it work.
So I know I'm going to shoot this question to Brian too, because you and I are in a similar situation, personally and professionally, where we were...
He's giving her a look that says, what are you talking about, you crazy lady?
How do you balance your personal life with all the just plain silly stuff, and as well as your career perspectives? Yeah.
The career part's easy. I don't have a job, so it's super easy. That honestly, if you want balance in your life, just quit working. But the editing for me, I've got 2 kids that are 15 and 17. one each, that's 15 and 17. So my editing takes place at night after everybody goes to bed. So for whatever reason, I don't require a whole lot of sleep. You and I share one DNA gene, I guess. But so I edit every single night after my real life is done. So it's tough, but that's the only way I found to be able to do it.
All right, Baylee.
All right, we're going to shift perspectives a little bit here. This next one's for Hoover from Jen in the Crowd. How do you choose which accidents to cover? Where and how do you source information? And how long does an episode typically take to create? If you need me to repeat that, I can do that.
Let's see, do we have 3 hours to talk about this? I honestly, I initially started myself kind of doing all this research and trying to find what I felt were compelling aviation stories that have a lot of lessons that could be shared. And over time, the audience has really helped shape the content by either emails, or I've got a form on my website they can fill out that, hey, can you look into this aviation mishap? The challenge is right now, I probably get about a dozen requests a day for different mishaps. And so it is extremely difficult to keep up with it. And because there's so many different stories and lessons that can be shared. So I don't know, it's one of those things I kind of look at, well, I don't want to keep telling the same type of mishap story over and over again, so I try to find, okay, well, I know we haven't talked about a VFR and IMC in a while, so let's talk about that. Or we haven't talked about normalization of deviance. So I just try to find what I think is really going to resonate with the audience, and then I use the inputs from the viewers from the forums on my website or my emails, especially if I'm getting a lot of requests for one specific mishap. I'll dig a little bit deeper into that, and, because I know there's a story to be told. Was that all the question?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to create one?
Typically about anywhere from 2 to 5 days.
That's not bad.
So
Okay.
it depends on how much research is involved, especially like the Wings Over Dallas tragedy. That was very heavy research intensive because I wanted to tell the story in the right way. And also I wanted to make sure it was condensed in a fashion that the audience could take it all in.
Well, and you want to be respectful,
Right.
and sometimes it's a sensitive topic, so I understand that.
All right. Okay. This question from Don in the crowd. I'm going to throw this up to whoever wants to take this one, and we'll do a couple. What's your favorite editing software? Favorite editing? Brian Wallstrom, you got a look on your face.
Not Adobe Premiere Pro. I was self-taught that, and that's what I'm currently using, and I will use until I get another computer. I'll probably go with something else, Blackmagic. That's probably what we'll be switching to. Maybe it's just my computer, but I've had all kinds of little bugs pop up that I have to restart, or like they move something on an update and I don't know where it is, and it's like it really messes up my flow of how I do things. So I don't know, it's kind of an industry standard, I feel, and that's why I went with it. But moving forward, I'd probably try something different.
Okay. Christopher, what do you guys use? So your Final Cut. Okay, we're Premiere, but I actually was looking at moving to DaVinci. There are some new things with Premiere that have kept me in the fold. The magic button in the audio is just, and actually Josh and Chelsea were the ones who pointed me to this. It has changed the world. I did that interview with Jack out at the Brown Arch, and they were mowing, they were doing all sorts of stuff. I hit one button on Adobe Premiere and it cleaned it up. It was amazing. So, anybody else want input on editing software? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go, Drew.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, actually. I mean, most of our videos were Premiere, but we've lately switched to CapCut Desktop, which is free. And the reason we do it is because it's just so fast. It's got preloaded transitions and sound effects and keyframe animation super fast. So it's definitely not the most robust, but we don't do much color grading and too much with sound other than sound effects. So for us, purely for speed, CapCut Desktop.
I've never heard of that. How do you spell it?
CAPCUT.
Okay. All right. We also, on the phone, I know Jack Schneider, who was here last year, he uses nothing but InShot in his phone. He doesn't even edit on a desktop. So that's pretty cool. All right.
All right, so this is a question just for the wide group, whoever wants to take it. For those wanting to start a platform to share aviation with a wider audience, what are some tips and tricks that you would recommend and some do's and don'ts?
All right. Tips and tricks for starting a YouTube channel.
Don't. I'm just kidding.
Don't. That's it. Tip
It's
number
not
one.
Don't. Be yourself and just make the content. I've seen too many people think, I have to do it perfect. I have to be able to do it this way. If I don't have this piece of equipment, I can't make this video. not
All right, leave me
true.
alone. Leave me alone.
Just start making content, be yourself, and put yourself out there. That's the best way you can start the channel.
Okay.
All right, Baylee?
Here we go.
Oh, we got one more about the tips.
When starting the channel, persistence. Don't think after 3 videos, hey, what's going on? Hey, this hasn't happened or whatever. I mean, for the amount of time we made videos and it was just, hey, we're just throwing videos out there. And then eventually something catches on or something will kind of work. And just don't be like, hey, I've made 6 months of videos and I'm not world famous yet. I'm done. Just know you got to keep going. If that's what you like, you got to keep going. Just don't expect it overnight. Time.
Okay, and another one over here, a latecomer. I just want to introduce you real quick. So we have Jason Miller from The Finer Points. Jason has an...
Thank you, guys. Thanks very much. Hey, I just wanted to mention how much short programs have mattered to me. So, like, if you choose to make a media file, the difference between making one that's 8 minutes long versus 25 minutes long is kind of exponential, and to the point of you got to keep this thing going. Like, you're going to start it and you're going to keep doing it. You can deliver a lot of value with a short format. It'll make your life really easy. So.
That's a good note. Not easy, but possible. All right.
And real quick, if you don't mind putting you on the spot here, your videos are something that I personally have drawn to. That I feel like they appeal more to like a younger audience, myself included. So what's your take on this?
My whole goal is to just really get people to go out and fly these old vintage airplanes. I see a lot of people flying around in brand new Garmin, this and that, which is great if you want to fly IFR A to B. But for me, because I do that for work, I really want to go out on an early morning, late afternoon, and just go fly around in a tail dragger, either my Cub or my Chief. So I try to do that because I feel like it's a part of aviation that not people forget about, but it's just kind of much smaller scale compared to the newer, faster, more complex airplanes. And I have 4 daughters, and I'm trying to bring them along, and they come flying with me. And I would love for them to become pilots. But as long as they hang out with Dad and come to the airport and come to the hangar, that's really for me what it's about. And if I could get one person to be like, wow, a Cub is only 40 grand, and I can go get my license and fly that, and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, and they go out and do it, then to me the mission accomplished. So.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't seen his videos, definitely go check him out. His daughters carry their Barbies in the plane. It's precious.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to shift this question over to Mindy. This is from Nakota. I hope I pronounced that correctly, from the crowd. What are your tips for instrument training and oral prep, check ride prep?
So I'm actually kind of training my husband instrument right now, so that's a great question. I'm not his full-time instructor because I quit. Formally, very formally. I encourage you all to quit teaching your spouses. It's not good. But I do a lot of his ground stuff because, of course, we talk a lot about his flights with his other instructor now. He'll come home and we'll do debriefs together. And he's learning right now to get to his written and his oral. So we do a lot of groundwork together. And what's happened for him is there's a lot of great stuff online from probably a lot of people up here. There's a lot of mock orals online from YouTube of check ride prep, and that's helped him a ton. And then I think Chris Palmer, I think that you mentioned Pilot's Cafe to him. Yeah, I'm hearing yeses. I didn't use that in my training, but I saw some photos of it online when you were training some instrument students and suggested Kevin to get that too. So there's just so much good stuff online, and find what works for you, whether that's video format or in written format or it's questions and answers. You can find all of it online and for free for the most part.
All right, very cool. I've got an OG question here, so we're going to go to Steve at Flight Chops, who's been around for a long time.
A minute.
He pioneered the aviation YouTube space. Steve, how does YouTube or Facebook censoring affect your content or channel?
Censoring? Yeah. Not at all. I don't know. Sorry. I think bottom line, I don't use copyrighted stuff. I don't even know. Are you talking about like if you talk about a gun or something? Like.
I know, and if Juan was here, I would have asked him this.
Oh, because he's got footage of accidents and death. That's the problem. So I think that.
Okay, is there any kind of
for ads? Yeah, demonetization. Yeah, there was the whole adpocalypse thing that happened in the earlier days when they found out, Coca-Cola found out that there was like that Nazis drink Coke, so therefore there was some Coke ads in front of Nazi videos. And then companies are like, wait a minute, it's not someone on YouTube deciding where these ads are going, and they're like, yeah, the algorithm, isn't that cool? Nazis drink Coke, we're good. So then all of us, yeah, so everybody saw their ads suddenly drop, and I did get strikes sometimes, or it would pause and be like, this one's not monetizable. It's like, why? And then you'd whatever the button is you press to refute it, and then 72 hours later they'd be like, my bad. And you're like, cool, well, 90% of the videos or the views for that video are gone, so I just lost all that revenue, thanks for that. But my video's good again. So that was a thing, but I never actually had a legit strike.
Brian, do you
my
get
content
censored?
is just sort of original.
So have you air show stuff? Have you guys had an issue with this?
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit because, a majority of our videos are air shows. We go to air shows, there's music everywhere. And we try to find a place where there's no speakers or quiet or whatever, but sometimes that's almost impossible, right? Because the speakers are out throughout the whole show line. And so now we either have methods of muting certain things, jet noise over things. We have methods of getting rid of music or finding spots to where there isn't music, because we have many videos that are like, oh, this clip is awesome, we want to do this, but there's Nickelback playing on it, and they're going to put something on there, and I can't play it. But that happens a lot to us, where we're fighting music all the time.
And Brian, do you get censored?
I was talking to someone from Germany yesterday, and she goes, "Are you aware that half of your videos are blocked in Europe?" I have no idea why.
Yours are?
That's what she said. She goes,
They don't understand your humor.
Well, but they're here too. They're not blocked here, so that doesn't make sense. But what I was
No, the Germans. Ask Martin. The Germans just don't get you, Brian.
Research that.
But so anyway, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently a lot of videos here are blocked overseas.
I think you're putting out fake information.
I just wondered if anyone else had heard that. That's okay. But anyway, I just didn't know if anybody else had ever heard that. That was the first time of me hearing that.
Anybody heard that? Are you having a problem in Germany? Okay, so real quick, I'm going to chase this one for someone with both or more active, like in Instagram, and there's YouTube. What do you like better, and does doing both help? Maybe.
I would probably do more YouTube if people were nicer to me on YouTube. I'm kidding. No, I really, Instagram's obviously been a really big avenue for me, mainly because I do a lot of short form content and a lot of comedy. People don't think I'm very funny on YouTube, and that's totally fine. The build series, when I'm building my plane, has done very well on YouTube. But like on all of my channels, I only do comedy on Instagram, and I feel like I found a base of people. Like I feel like with Instagram, you build a base of people who are your fans, who care about you, who interact with you, who send you messages, and I try to respond to all of them. And I feel like there's more personality there, and because essentially you're getting reached out to by someone's personal profile. You know who they are. They're talking to you as a person. Whereas on YouTube, I feel like they type something and you have no idea who that individual is. So.
And just a follow-up question for you, Carson. When are we coming out with the cool women's apparel?
retweet.
Later this year.
Oh!
Dirtbag Pilot, you're pretty active in Instagram, Facebook, right? Not just YouTube? TikTok. Okay, well, let's do the same thing. TikTok versus YouTube. What are your thoughts?
So I was inspired by a lot of these guys to make videos, and I found TikTok, and it's so much easier to hit that upload button on TikTok because it takes 8 seconds, 6 seconds. Find something cool, put it on there. It's easy. You don't have to edit at first. All you do is hit the upload button. If it's bad, nobody sees it. If it's good, lots of people see it, and you do more of that.
All right. So open question for the crowd. How do you get sponsors, and what is the process?
Who wants to take that
Who
one?
wants to take this one? Anybody? All right.
First off, I'd like to thank my sponsors.
Like that, people.
There you go. The end.
So I recently finished rebuilding a plane on my YouTube channel, and I think we had 20-something different sponsors to be able to make that happen. And so I think the best way to be able to get sponsors outside of having clout on whatever platform you have is to be kind to them and reach out to them in a way. Don't say, hey, give me free stuff. They don't like that. So you start a relationship and just say, hey, I really like your product. I was probably going to buy this anyways. Do you want to work with me in some way on this? 9 times out of 10, they say yes. So I've been very successful in getting all of my sponsors, and again, thank you, sponsors, because I haven't been able to build the plane that I've built without any of them.
All right, let's go on sponsors. Let's do follow-up. Jason?
So just something I wanted to mention here, just for the sake of mentioning it too, is not to underestimate your value as a where the eyeballs are. You know, if you look at like a full-page magazine ad and say something like Flying Magazine, I don't know what the current rate is, but it's probably $15,000 to run an ad like that, and that's just a one-page ad in Flying Magazine. And every single influencer up here on the stage has real people engaged with their real personalities, and they can really influence people's decision making. And so I just hate to see people do this for a free headset when I know what some of those companies pay for, you know, full-page magazines. So just know your value as you go into that looking for sponsorship.
Yeah, that's a very good word. Anybody else want to talk on that? Okay. Baylee, you got one?
Yes. Okay, so this one's for Hoover again. How do you differentiate your channel from other accident reports? And I also think this would be a good question to open up as well, just in general. Like, how do you guys differentiate your channels from every other aviation channel, which in a way almost seems a little saturated?
I like that. We'll follow that up in a minute with you guys with just how do you differentiate your channel. So go ahead, Hoover.
I think for me, the biggest thing is I knew when I started this, there were other aviation channels, right? I didn't want to be them. I didn't want to do the same thing they were doing. So what I tried to do is just be myself and make it a little bit unique in terms of taking the fighter pilot debrief process, which is what I learned from being in the military, and apply that to the aviation mishaps. But I also wanted to bring in the human factors component of it, because that's one of the things that I found missing in a lot of the analysis that is sometimes done. Really, especially like once the investigation is complete. I know Juan and some other channels, they do a great job when these things happen, covering the breaking news immediately, but it's going back 2 years later and looking at all those fine details. And instead of, you know, the NTSB saying, well, the plane crashed because the pilot exceeded the critical angle of attack. Okay, we got that, but why did that happen? And so that's kind of what I tried to do to make myself a little bit unique and cover that component.
Okay. I'm going to throw this, Chris Palmer, speak about differentiating in the instruction arena.
I just show a lot of me doing the real things, and me working with students one-on-one, and yeah, that's about it. I mean,
Do you worry about looking like other instructional aviation?
Not
YouTube?
really. I mean, everyone has their way of doing it, and I wouldn't say any way is particularly wrong versus another. Like, Jason and I are friends. I really look up to his style. I think he probably feels the same way in parts of the way I teach. So, you know, the tide lifts all ships sort of thing. You can learn little things from a bunch of different instructors.
The funny thing is, I think all of us who are good friends are probably the best friends of the people who do the most similar content.
Oh,
to
that's a
us.
good point.
I'm probably more close friends with all of the comedy-related people because, I don't know, we all just get along. We like our content, and we're all unique in our own way, even if we're doing similar stuff. So.
Okay. And so Martin, and then we'll go to Corey.
Yeah, if we were running this like a large business, then we'd all do a market study, right, and see where's the niche with the biggest return on investment and make those videos. But I believe I speak for most of us here when I say we make the videos on topics that we're passionate about, right? So I'm passionate about instrument flying, large airports. I love teaching, and out of that comes what I do, and that way it's authentic and it's a little different from what everybody else does. So I think the differentiation comes automatically from that. We're not just going after statistics and looking at the highest bar in the graph.
Corey?
I think one thing that is important is just be yourself. I have a group of friends, and we go flying together. And at the end of the day, we share all the footage with each other, and we all go into the editing room, and we have completely different videos, even though it's literally the same exact event. Because in the cutting room, I'm Corey Robin, and Trent is Trent, and Mike is Mike. But we're all there together, and we're not concerned about it at all. In fact, I've never once tried to differentiate myself because there's no other Corey Robin, there's no other Mike Patey, there's no other Airworthy, we're all just so vastly different. And I think it's just important to speak to your passion. Do what you like, do what you really enjoy doing.
All right, Bruno? And yeah, just to add to that, I think that every time you're creating a video, whether for YouTube or Instagram, I think just look for a story that perhaps hasn't been told or haven't been told in a way that you want to tell it. You know, I think everybody here is flying their planes and flying planes from A to B, but I think all of the people here on the stage find a way to do it in a way that's so unique to them. I mean, I'm probably saying everything you already said, but like, it's not just flying from A to B. I think it's telling stories about how aviation changed their lives, and whether it's building your own plane, maybe it's teaching other people how to fly, or maybe just experience something that you would not be able to experience if you didn't have your pilot's license. And I think that in itself will lend itself to something that's really unique.
All right, very cool. We're really running late. What do you got?
I have a question for Dan.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Uh-oh. Dan, how hard was it to get your YouTube channel to the point where it is now? What were the challenges that you faced?
I started taking off as a learning platform. I wanted to learn how to build a YouTube channel. So I actually did it from an analytical point, but I enjoy that. I love jigsaw puzzles. I have them going on all the time. So I'm that kind of a nerd. So the challenges have been, we do a lot of videos, and you get just a little bit of it's a grind. The challenge is the grind, putting out all the videos and everything else, and just having to do it. People who want to start a YouTube channel most of the time do not understand the amount of work that goes into it. And it's a ton of work. So that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean, and other than having a silly co-host, it's a lot of work, you guys. And to Dan's point and everybody else up here, seriously, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for everything that you do that helped me, Baylee, Dan, and probably you've affected everybody out here. So I just want to take a minute to thank everybody that took the time to come up here and speak and meet with all of you guys today. Thank you so much.
And I'm really thankful to those, what I call the OGs, so like Matt and Steve at Flight Chops. You guys kind of paved the whole way of creating aviation content. And Mike Patey, you're OG.
Yeah, I can honestly say a lot of you guys standing up here are some of the people that inspired me to get my license so early. So thank you.
And she got hers on her 17th birthday. So, okay. Any last comments of anybody who has talked or hasn't talked that wants to say something? I want to give all right, Brian.
I just want to put a challenge out to everybody here that's interested in making content. I mean, I think most of us aren't looking for to be famous or whatnot. We just do what we love and share that with you all. So I challenge you to make original content, right? Not just to swipe other people's things that you think it's cool and do a mashup and put it out there, because people come out, they travel from home, get the sunburn and all the things to capture the content, and some people take that and just edit away at their air-conditioned computer and put it up there. Just be original, and people are gonna. It's YouTube, right? People are gonna follow you because they think the stuff that you're doing is cool, or what you're following is cool. And don't be afraid to be yourself, because you're pretty cool.
We love you guys.
Good words. All right. Thank you, everybody. And sponsors do make a difference, and we have ours, and I'm going to put our sponsors up on the screen. And if you ever see sponsors like on our channel, these guys' channels, or anything else, if you can support those sponsors, it really does help us a whole bunch.
Go hit up the Flying Eyes booth, taking off 10%, all caps, one word.
The last thing I want to say, if you want to help these YouTubers and the other YouTubers, the best thing you can do is actually watch the videos and watch them all the way through. Don't click out. The longer you stay in the video, the more the algorithm likes it and will keep pushing it. That's probably one of the best things you can do to help all these guys. So thank you for coming. What we're going to do is we're going to let you guys meet them. So we'll see you guys next time on In the Hangar.